the thing that we want you to focus on just for a moment. We can all feel the intensity of your desire. It's a very clear and strong desire. But can you feel, as you express about your desire, the tension around it? And what that tension means simply is, I want something that I'm not yet a match to.
Yes.
So it's really a good thing when you recognize that you want a partner that you're a match to, but you also understand that you want to be a match to the whole idea before you can find a partner that you're a match to. So the question is not, how can I find a mate with whom I harmonize on all these points and with whom I can live happily ever after and have babies? The question is, how can I find a way to be a match to my desire?
Yes.
Well, the answer is simpler than it seems. The answer is, notice when I am and notice when I'm not. And when I notice that I'm not, stop doing whatever I'm doing. And when I notice when I am, do more of that. So, for example, when you think about time running out, you feel more tension. So try to change the subject. When you see a happy couple and it makes you feel happy, then watch them more. If you are seeing a happy couple and it makes you feel sad, then look somewhere else. It's as simple as just tuning yourself to it, because you've already put it into your vortex. It's already there. When Jerry and Esther were taking the segment of refreshment just now, Esther was telling Jerry that she was so excited about what she felt more than heard us say about this non-physical vortex is right here in your physical arena. And Esther said, I don't know what I thought before. I didn't think it was out there in outer space. But there was something about the realization that the vortex and the non-physical components of that vortex are right here with you, all around you. In other words, what you want is already present tense. It's just a matter of accepting it. And yes. The thing that's hard for most of you is that you look around, you say, no one's going home with me. I'm not sharing my house with anyone. Therefore, it isn't. And that's not true. The vortex version of what you want is going with you everywhere you go. You just want to tune to it and tune to it and tune to it until the absence of it is nowhere to be found in your vibration. That really is what creation is. It's just finding the thoughts that feel so good, yes, rather than the thoughts that feel tense. Now, just in this very brief conversation, your tension is lifted off of you. In other words, your eyes are shining bright and you are in the vibration. You are. They can. So some might say, well, how can she maintain that? And we say, you don't even have to maintain it. Just go there as often as you can. You just have to know the difference between how you feel right now, talking about living happily ever after and having babies, and how you felt 5 minutes ago, talking about living happily ever after and having babies. You feel different right now. Can you identify the difference? You don't have to articulate the difference, but do you feel the distinction between the way you feel now and the way you felt then?
Yes.
That's how you get what you want.
Okay.
So what's the answer? In simple terms, talk yourself into it. Soothe yourself into it. Talk about things in general. That almost always puts you in the vortex. Remind yourself that there's plenty of time and that what you're looking for is also looking for you. And that there's no rush to it, but there's no reason in delaying it either. And everything's unfolding in perfect time. And tell yourself it's not possible for you to have a desire that is this poignant and not have it be fulfilled. It is a sure thing. And since it is a sure thing, it doesn't matter if it happens right now, this red hot minute, or tomorrow, or next week, or next month. It's coming. So all is well, yes? So what this gathering is really about, it's a seminar that teaches allowing within the magnificent constraints of law of attraction. Law of attraction says that which is likened to itself is drawn. Well, if that's true, then that means this large part of you, this source energy part of you, this eternal part of you who's been around a lot longer than this you that you think is you, this eternal part of you, this evolving part of you, this pulsing God force energy that is you, that radiates from the vortex that we are calling the vortex. We know it seems a little odd. I went to a seminar and this man called his wife Abraham. It was very strange. And she waved her arm around and pointed at the floor and called it a vortex. This vortex of creation, where the larger part of you is calling you incessantly, calling you. Because law of attraction says that you are likened to it. You gave birth to what it is. And so you are predominantly it. But when you find some thought in your physical format that you introduce into your vibrational frequency because you're observing it or because you learned it from your parents, as you offer that vibrational frequency that is not resonant or in harmony with, for example, Source loves. The larger part of you loves. The larger part of you is love. When you find someone that you decide to not like or to abhor or to hate, then you introduce a frequency that has you cross current of who you really are. Now you have the right to do that. And the upside of it is when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. So it is accurate to say that the more in your physical body you find things to hate, the more you love from your non-physical perspective, because Source always finds what you are looking for, even when you are looking at the opposite of it, because that's what this balanced environment in which you are creating is all about. There are two ends of that vibrational stick always, and when you know what you don't want, the Source part of you knows precisely what you do want. But that's the reason that we started with you, as we did this morning, that we know that you don't really know what you want unless you are willing to feel your way into the vortex on subject after subject. And you can tell when you find that feeling, when goosebumps bubble over you, or when you well up with love, or when you find yourself excited about thinking about something, when you feel those kinds of resonant moments, you can know that in those moments, you know exactly what you want. You're right on the vibe of them. You can feel them every time. But if you're using words, if you're using surveys, tell me what you want. If you're using the opinions of others, if you're trying to do what's most popular, if you're trying to please something, anything outside of you, then you are off track. And we know it is annoying to try to follow those fickle and often bogus announcements of what you should do. For heaven's sakes, if you were like most people, you'd be in the parking lot right now. You would have obeyed. You would have left the building. You would have left the building only to discover that some kid on floor 6 pulled the alarm. Dark hair, red shirt. "12 years old, and right now he's in the swimming pool." But when you know who you are, when you have practiced feeling what you're feeling, when you are in vibrational alignment with who you are, when you go there deliberately, then what happens is you begin to trust this resonant feeling. And when you know, in other words, if there were danger in this building, we would have known before the alarm went off, and you would have known too. In other words, when you're in sync with who you really are, you can feel when you're moving into something that's not a vibrational match. And we're not just talking about walking into buildings that are on fire or getting on airplanes that are destined to crash into the Pacific. We're talking about walking into conversations that are not a vibrational match to who you are. We're talking about walking into conversations and practicing the vibration until that vibration is easy to come by. We're talking about being aware of who you really are and playing every moment in your waking state life against who you really are and reaching for the true depth of resonance of who you are. And as you begin to do that more and more, what you begin to discover is that in your more consistent alignment with everything that you put into your vortex, you become such a consistent cooperative component that as the universe is yielding to you, as the universe is yielding to you as it always does when you're in alignment with your desire, it feels to you as if you are just so going with the flow. Jerry and Esther and family and friends took a hot air balloon ride this week. So fun. And Jerry said, I think I'll bring my hat. No, I think I won't. No, I think I will. No, I think I won't. And Kevin said, I'm not going to bring my hat because I don't want it to blow away. And then Jerry said, well, let's be logical about this. If we are in the balloon and the balloon is moving with the wind, then we should feel no wind. And sure enough, when you move with the current, you don't feel the resistance that you feel when you don't move with the current. Such an interesting, peaceful experience to be floating, really floating relatively quickly in a current of wind where you are one with the wind. Such a nice thing. We want you to be one with the wind that you've set into motion. When you are one with the wind, when you are in vibrational alignment with who you really are, you don't feel the friction that others feel when they are not. And we want you to know that every bit of wind is caused by you, and every bit of friction is caused by you too. Your wind wouldn't blow if you didn't live life and ask. That's what makes your wind blow. That's what makes the stream flow. In other words, that's what makes the current go. You're asking, and that's what sets the current in motion. But when you ask and then you say, oh, well, but I can't, don't know, what, maybe wrong, When you hesitate, when you don't go, when you cling to a spot and the wind has to rush past you, some of you have created gale force winds and then you nailed your feet to the floor. And then you say, it's miserable here. And we say, lighten up and let the wind take you. And we want you to know that no matter how fast your wind is blowing, and it's blowing fast, when you're going with it, you have the experience of well-being, because when you're going with the flow, you don't feel the resistance, you see. And others who will watch you will say, oh man, look at that guy go. He must be a maniac. I would never want to go that fast. And we say, yes, he would. He wants to go that fast. He just doesn't want the current from within to be pulling him when he's not ready, you see. You can't not make the wind go. You can't hold back. You can't listen to us and then say, well, I'm going to make very sure that my wind never blows again. I'm just going to hold my thoughts in. We say, you cannot stop sifting through life and setting that into motion. You can't stop that. You have only one choice if you are to live the deliberate, joyful life that you came to live. And that is, you've got to go with this flow. You have to. You have to go with it. Well, let us put that a different way. You're going. You're going. The question is, are you going willingly? Or are you holding back? And is the wind of your own creation now beating up on you? You see?